You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Pets in the City is brought to you by 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. 1-800-PET-MEDS is your best source for pet medications, vitamins, supplements, and pet supplies. Get great savings, fast service, and free shipping. Go to petmeds.com/city, CITY, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more.
New York, the glitz, the glamour, the exciting Mutt-tropolis, the sparkling kitty city that never sleeps. Step onto the sexy streets of animal attraction that is New York City. Welcome to Pets in the City, Life in the Urban Jungle. Join host Diane West as she explores the exciting lives, loves, and laments of the people and pets in the world's greatest city. Pets in the City, like the city itself, has something for everyone. Celebrity pet sightings, hot events, and news and reviews with the hottest movers, shakers, and tail waggers in New York. So get ready to get dressed to the canines and take a bite out of the Big Apple with your Pets in the City host, Diane West.
Well, the fall is here. Not officially, but pretty much so, at least in New York. And a sure sign of that is when we see the streets alive with the sound of pitter-pattering, or shall I say banging feet from the New York City Marathon. It is really exciting, even if you're not a runner, just to see the energy and the mass of people that are running a 26.2-mile course on their own without a gun to their head, which always astonishes me. But we have somebody on the phone who will explain to us a little bit more about what would possess someone to do this. And he actually does have a great reason that possesses him to do this. I'm here with Braden Matthews. Welcome.
Thanks a lot for having me, Diane. Really appreciate the opportunity.
So tell us, what possesses someone to run 26.2 miles voluntarily?
I guess I think you have to be a little bit crazy, but there's 43,000 runners out there, so I don't think we're all on on crazy meds or anything. So I think there's definitely a lot of passionate people. I think if you look historically at marathons, they've increased as a popular sport in our country and around the world, triathlons as well. So the numbers, I think when I first started running the New York City Marathon back in '02, is probably in the 20+ thousand range, and now I think it's 43,000 runners for this year. So
wow.
It gets bigger and bigger. It gets bigger and bigger every year, and I think it's really increased in in older people as well that like to get out there and run. So to answer your question, what possesses someone to do it? I think it's a challenge for me. It's once a year I really get out there and try to raise money for a cause that I'm passionate about, and so it's one of those days you give back. I think there's I don't know who thought of the slogan, but to think global and act local. So when I look across the world and at animals and animal causes, I try to kind of drum that down to a local cause, a local charity, and that's what I do every year.
So you do this, your motivation is for the animals. And from what I understand, you've done it for different groups in the past. I know last year we had spoken actually, and you have been doing it for United Action for Animals, which helps, among other things, address dog fighting as well as rescue work. And how much did you end up raising last year?
So I think last year was over 7,000. This year so far, I'm close to 6,500. So I'm close to last year's mark. Still a bunch of days to go, and it's just a way to kind of also show a different side to yourself too. So if you're a runner out there, and let's say you have a bunch of clients that you serve, a certain niche, or you go to work every day and you have a lot of people that you're friendly with, but don't see this other side of you. That's kind of something that I like to do, is send out an email with, say, a cause that I'm raising money for, and all of a sudden it sheds a whole different side of your personality that people were unaware of. A, they weren't aware that you are running a marathon. B, they weren't aware that you're passionate about a certain cause. I think it gives people an opportunity to kind of address different sides of their personality and show people and their clients as well kind of a different side. So
now, yeah, I mean, for you, I would imagine you probably get some surprises because I will just say, as you had described yourself, you're in finance, but you're pretty high up the finance chain. So I can imagine, as you were saying, you tell a client or a colleague that this is what you do and you do it for animals. What's the most surprising and perhaps encouraging response you've gotten that you can remember?
Well, I actually had a client that called up the other day, and they've called every year, but this was a client that actually I really talk to, and they're in my email distribution list, and I learned that this individual is very passionate about dogs, and that their dream is to own a farm and have 15 to 20 rescues kind of running around, and this firm ended up giving me a $500 donation, so that can make a huge impact, and that's one email, that's one client out of maybe 500 to well over 1,000 clients I have. So all it takes is one email to really make a dramatic impact on the donations that you're trying to raise, and you'd be surprised. Whether it's animals or cancer. I mean, my mom had breast cancer. My father's had a stroke in his past. There's any. I mean, we are all afflicted by different diseases, by things that, or just influenced by things that we're passionate about, whether it's kids or whatever the cause is. So to send out an email to people that you're close with or not close with, that you're trying to get closer with, I think it's just a great way to, like I said before, kind of show a different side of yourself and kind of create a reason why you're running. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, out of the 43,000 runners just run to get a personal best time or just run to say that they've run a marathon. But if you put a charity behind it as well, I think it's a really strong statement that you're making. And it doesn't have to be a marathon. It can be a 10K. It can be a half marathon. It can be whatever you want it to be.
And now when you say, I think that's a great point, when you say, you show a different side to yourself to people whom you would otherwise interact on a different, I imagine that probably helps facilitate relationships with your clients and maybe even new clients as well, because you have that common ground there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had internal people here that I work with that have forwarded the email out to their friends. So it doesn't just stop with your immediate base. I think it goes even, it goes well beyond that. And so I think that's a way to it's just a way to help. The cause that I'm doing it for this year, a lot of times they camp out in Union Square in New York City. And so you'll walk by and you'll see the dogs outside trying to find homes. You'll see the cats outside in cages. And so it kind of really brings it to home. And, you'll see them out there with their donation jars and just people are throwing in change or dollar bills or whatever. And if you can raise close to $7,000 for these people, it's a big impact. These are people that I probably would have never met before, and it makes you feel good.
Now, Braden, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the lucky benefactors of your race efforts this Sunday. We'll be right back.
This is a Pelham Bay Parkbound 6 local train.
All right, this is my stop, Commercial Boulevard. Yeah, that's funny. Pets in the City will be back in a New York minute. Don't go anywhere.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Pets in the City is brought to you by Petco.com. Petco is a leading specialty retailer of premium pet food supplies and services, offering more than 10,000 high-quality pet-related products. Enter the code PETCITY10, that's PETCITY, the number 10, and get 10% off any order. No minimum at Petco.com.
There's a movement afoot, ShoeBuy.com. Join the millions of people who shop ShoeBuy.com's over 400 brands and 500,000 products. Order now and get free shipping and free return shipping. ShoeBuy.com, the world's greatest shoe store.
Walk your dog in style and comfort. Enter the code PETCITY, PETCITY, at checkout and get a 10% discount plus free shipping at ShoeBuy.com. If you ask the question, what do I want? What do I need? I'll take affection. I really should mention I need time. I need love. I crave attention. This is new waiting by the door. With shaking tails and happy hearts.
are the furry builders and kids. They are my family, they understand me. That's how I love my pets.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available on iTunes.
How many pets is too many? Do you know somebody whose life is overwhelmed by their animals? Maybe we can help. We're looking for people to be in a new TV series about really large animal families. We can offer expert help, free resources, and the chance to tell their story. If you or someone you know owns a house full of animals, call us toll-free at 1-877-MY-8-PETS. That's 1-877-MY-8-PETS.
Welcome to Sassy Seniors, a show about our fabulous older dogs and cats. I'm your host, Kelly Jackson. I wanted to create a show to really showcase our senior pets. And, as the human population ages and lives longer, of course, so are our wonderful pets. But many of us with aging pets, it's so interesting. We have a tough time realizing or really admitting that they are seniors. So, in a way, I kind of like to think of our senior pets as wise puppies. What do you think about that? Be sure to join us for another edition of Sassy Seniors. And remember, celebrate your senior pets.
Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, all you yuppie puppies and city kitties, Pets in the City is back with more urban animals and cool cosmopolitan critters. Try saying that 3 times fast. Right, Diane?
And we're back with Braden, who has been training really hard for the New York City Marathon, which again is coming up this Sunday, November 6th. And there's many reasons that people do the marathon. And two of the reasons that Braden is doing it this year are very special to his heart. 2 wonderful animal charities here in New York, Ollie's Place and Mighty Mutts. Now, Braden, before the break, you actually started to describe kind of pardon the pun, the guerrilla tactics that Mighty Mutts uses in Union Square. They're pretty amazing. I mean, they really honestly do camp out in Union Square with the dogs. Can you kind of describe it for our listeners a little bit? Like, if you were walking in Union Square, what it would look like to you?
Sure. So you'd probably see a bunch of folks kind of camping out in the middle of Union, Square with, dogs on leashes with kind of a blanket over them saying, "Rescue me." And these are dogs and, and cats that maybe have been brought to a shelter because the owners could no longer afford them, or maybe they had a kid and they didn't want to deal with a pet anymore, which I find very, very hard to believe, because to me pets are like kids. But, whatever the reason is, whether it's financial duress, whether it's someone that has just let the dog out into the street, and abandoned him, or, a cat for that matter. I think there's a lot of studies in major cities. There's a lot of homeless cats out there that roam the streets.
Oh, yeah.
And so, to kind of create what I see when I walk in front of a Petco and I see all the cat cages outside with people trying to, adopt them. I mean, they always draw a crowd. I think people are drawn to animals. If you ever walk by a pet store and you see the puppies playing in the window, you always see a crowd out there watching. So, people, I think, for the most part, are drawn to animals and animal causes. And so if you walk to Union Square, that's some of the types of stuff that you would see. And a lot of these, most of the animals are very, very special, have had a difficult life beforehand. And so, whether you throw a quarter in or, whatever it is, it's always helpful.
Yeah, I mean, they're really out there. I mean, I know when I go out there, they're out there in all kinds of weather, too. I mean, they're sitting there with the dogs, which, I have never met a dog from there that didn't have an extremely sweet temperament. And they're usually pretty big dogs, too. And I know what you mean. It's interesting to see people's react. It's like they kind of stop short. It's like, oh, there's a dog. What's a dog doing there?
Yep. Yeah, but a lot of the people involved do temperament testing on all the animals, because it doesn't make sense to try to have an animal adopted that doesn't have a good temperament and is going to cause an issue, whether it's for legal reasons or whether it's just for the well-being of the dog or for the family as well, whether it's a dog, a cat, whatever the animal may be. So they do temperament testing. They have experts that are involved in these organizations, and veterinarians that volunteer as well that do a lot of analytical work on all the animals. So it's not like you're going into a situation where, the product is going to be uncertain. So I think that's that's the benefit as well, and that just is kudos to all the people that get involved in these types of things and really make an effort to make sure it's done right. And so I think when it comes time to raising money for an organization too, I kind of did a little research as well and spoke to a bunch of people that were involved to make sure it wasn't just going to be the type of organization where you don't know where the money is going to. Like maybe the donations are going towards someone buying a new purse for all you know, or like or paying their rent, or or whatnot. So you really wanted to make sure that the people involved are upstanding in their morals and everything else, and the money that's being raised is going directly to the well-being of the animals.
You, as a financial expert, you raise a really great point there. I mean, do you think, I know we're just speaking in a microcosm here, but do you think if people had a better understanding of where exactly their donations went, that would encourage them to donate more? I mean, it's almost like you kind of write a check and then you're not quite sure where it goes.
Right. I think in the mid-sized to small types of organizations, they're definitely going towards the well-being of, the animals, assuming that the people involved are, like I said, of high regard, because there's just so many bills. I mean, there's vet bills, there's food bills, there's bills to keep the lights on, et cetera. Whereas with, I think, a lot of the larger organizations, it's kind of a little bit more hazy. And not as visible as to where your money is going towards. For all you know, it's going towards buying paper for the copy machine on the 10th floor. You really don't know.
Which might be necessary.
Absolutely. So when I kind of look at the landscape of who I want to raise money for, it's really for those that I can make the biggest impact. I mean, I've already gotten emails from people on the staff of Mighty Mutts and Ollie's Place thanking me just for thinking of them, because it's going to make a big impact. And these are people that have volunteered, that have now moved down to Miami. I got an email from someone that's moved on, but heard about the money raising cause. So it's all good. It's all good. And like I said, it's a way to think, to think global and act local. I mean, I'd love to save the dolphins in Japan too. I mean, there's a lot of dolphin killing going on there. I watched a movie on it called The Cove, which was fascinating, but it's just horrific.
Yeah.
But once again, it's like, okay, do I want to think about the dolphin killing that's going on in Japan, or do I want to think about the dogs and cats that live in my neighborhood, that are 20 or 30 blocks away and don't have celebrities rallying behind them? So that's kind of what I try to think about, is where I can make the most impact.
Exactly, and I think a lot of them fall under the radar too, as you were saying. Now, so we talked a little bit about Mighty Mutts. Tell us a little bit about Ollie's Place.
So Ollie's Place is the same deal. They rescue cats off the streets. The people that are involved really, really need the funding just to stay operational. To get involved in that cause was obviously a great thing. They actually recently had a volunteer just a few years older than me that's passed away that was heavily involved in Ollie's Place, and he's profiled on their website. But it's really just a way. Once again, it's a similar theme and business plan as a Mighty Mutt is. The rescue of animals, the placement in good homes. There's profiles up on the website of all the homes where the cats have been placed and what they're doing. What their personalities are like and what they like to do, whether it's hanging out in the sun and sunbathing or eating a full meal or whatever it is that they like to do. It's kind of fascinating. And once again, it's great to see the families that have taken these animals into their homes and have had fantastic experiences.
So, I mean, that's another way that, just somebody could tangibly see, look, I donated to this place, and look, there's, somebody enjoying their new home there and a new family.
Oh yeah, I mean on both websites, there's profiles of all the dogs and cats that are currently up for adoption, and there's profiles of most of the animals that have been adopted and what they're doing.
I mean, that's great to show you, look, see, here's someone who was adopted through us, and it was a happy ending, hopefully, all the time. So that's good. Now, Braden, I want to switch gears a little bit for our runners out there. Tell me a little bit about your training. I know you have an extremely demanding job that you're probably working all hours of the day and night. How do you fit your training for a marathon into that?
Well, I think you just got to have, you got to be high on the energy level and low on the excuse level. So, we all work long hours. It's a terrible economy. We got a 10% unemployment rate. You're lucky to have a job. And so you kind of got to make yourself an indispensable person. So that's on the work side. So then on the training side, it's after work. It's on weekends. On a Saturday, I can put in a long run. The New York Road Runners Club is excellent here in New York City because they have a lot of runs that they schedule for the runners that are involved in this organization leading up to that race, to the marathon. So they had a practiced 18-mile run about a month and a half ago where they line the whole course, which is Central Park, the 6-mile loop, which you go around 3 times with Gatorade, water, etc. So usually if you were training for one of these things, then you didn't have the benefit of racing in one of these sponsored races that New York Road Runners Club does. You'd probably have a belt with Gatorade around it, or some kind of energy water. You'd be hiding your water or Gatorade in the bushes around Central Park, so it's not as ideal. So it's just one of those things where I do a little bit of that. I also have a running watch that I bought, which has the distance and your pace per mile on there. But I'm really not a scientific runner. It's more of just the way my body feels. It's like I said, it's what I ate that day. It's what I'm weighing. I mean, if you're running a marathon and you weigh 5 or 6 pounds above what your normal weight is, that you have to cart around, that certainly is gonna affect you. If you're running in 90-degree weather versus 40-degree weather, I mean, the colder the better. It makes a huge difference. That can be minutes off your time. So I try to do the
5 or 6 pounds will make a difference, really?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, when I'm not really training for a marathon, I might weigh, say, 182 or 183. When I'm running the marathon, I'll get down to like 177. So it makes a big difference.
Wow.
And then just on the heat factor, I mean, if you're running a marathon in Florida versus close to the wintertime in New York City, huge difference. It's a lot harder to run in the heat. That slows you down.
I've seen that, and forgive me for, I guess, shall we say, being runner profiling, but I mean, just a casual viewer of the marathon, it does seem like the folks from the Nordic and the colder countries seem to do better when the weather's colder, and the folks, internationally who come from the hotter weather climates seem to do better when it's hotter here. Is that
right?
That's my unscientific observation.
Well, I think that's probably because they're used to training in those types of temperatures. So if you're from Denver, Colorado, you're obviously going to run a lot faster in the Denver Marathon because you're training there the whole time and the altitude is higher and you're used to the lack of oxygen. Whereas if you're going to Denver from New York City and you're running in that marathon, you're probably going to get crushed. It's similar to when the NFL teams go and play the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. The Denver Broncos feel like they have an advantage, and that's because of the altitude. It takes a while to get used to that. So, I mean, I've been up to, I've been up in those areas a couple of years ago, and just running a casual 2 or 3 mile run takes a lot more effort than running around the loop in Central Park. It's once again, it's a big difference. So they kind of have the home field advantage based on the climate that they're used to training in.
It's certainly amazing. I mean, just what the human body could do. I mean, somebody I know that's like a top triathlete, they said, well, a lot of it is, you're visualizing whether you could do it or not. And, I always thought that was kind of like a platitude, but it seems like it's true.
Well, yeah, that's definitely the case too. I think when people are planning on running their first marathon, and this goes with, if anything in life. I mean, when I first went to business school, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to business school. I have to learn finance and accounting and all this stuff. It was kind of daunting at first, and then you get there and you put the work in and you study and then you do well. It's the same thing with, say, a marathon. You start off, when I first did my first marathon in 2002, the most I'd ever run is 6 miles. I'd only run the loop. I had to train for my first New York City marathon about 10 weeks later, because it was the year after 9/11, and they had 2 lotteries, and the second lottery opened up. I had 10 weeks to train. I found out in the second lottery, so I went from running 6 to then I tried to run 12 that first weekend. A couple weekends later, they had to practice, say, 18 in the park. I did that, and then it kind of just went from there. But lining up for my first marathon and realizing that I had 26.2 miles in front of me, you kind of, you do have doubts. I mean, you do have doubts, and you have no idea how your body is going to react at mile 22, 23. I mean, you can put all the training in you want, but it just could be a bad day. I mean, there's a lot of elite runners out there that train for months and months, and they get to the marathon and they walk off the course at 17 because they tweaked a calf or their stomach's upset or whatever it is. So you really don't know what's going to happen. You can just put in the time, you do your best, and and you see kind of where the chips fall. But definitely the mental side is huge. I don't think when you're in those early 21, 22, 23 mile areas, you're really in the mindset of, I'm having a great time. It's really a lot of pain. I mean, your feet hurt, your knees hurt, your hips hurt. It's more of a pain endurance type of exercise for me than it is a cardiovascular exercise. So I think at that point it really is your mental state and just wanting to finish and making sure you have the drive and, the resolve to do that. But once again, you can't ignore your body. I mean, there's people out there that, that run 100 miles, that run 100 miles.
Oh, God, is those Ironman? They are absolutely out of their mind. They're out of their mind.
Yep. There's actually a great book. There's a great book called Born to Run. I forget who the author is. It's Christopher something, but it's out there, and it's a great book about barefoot running. And I'm not someone that necessarily subscribes to that. I tried to run on a treadmill once with my socks on, and I almost ripped my calves off. But it's a fascinating book about this Indian tribe in Mexico that runs barefoot and what they do, and they run 50, 75, 100-mile marathons.
One of the top is forgive me, is it Meb, one of the top runners? Does he run barefoot actually, or he did?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I can't answer that. With an educated answer, but a lot of the shoes now are lightweight anyway, so it almost is like running barefoot. But there are an increasing number of runners that literally are running barefoot.
I saw that on one of the feeds this morning that, they had a lot of people, calling New York road runners saying, can I, use the essentially barefoot shoes? It looks like you even have to put each toe individually into a little space there. I mean, I guess they said it was fine, but I guess there's some people that are worried about injuries, but I don't know.
Yeah, there are definitely people that, that subscribe to, to the barefoot running, and there's studies that show that it can be beneficial. So I think it's whatever floats your boat, whatever you prefer.
Well, I mean, I guess when we were, evolving, we were running around barefoot without, specially calibrated sneakers. So I guess it's possible.
Yeah, but we weren't running across the potholes and glass in New York City either. So.
True.
It's a little more rudimentary.
So listen,
I'll run barefoot on a beach any day. I don't know if I'll try that through the streets of New York.
That would be a challenge. But, Braden, you are brave to do the marathon. And just tell us, I know you really have this Mighty Mutts and Ollie's Place close to your heart. So when you hit that wall, that infamous wall, is it what, like mile 18 or something?
Yep. Roughly around there.
Honestly, do you start thinking about Mighty Mutts and Ollie's Place or kind of what you're doing it for? Does that help keep you going?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you think about everything. You think about your family. You think about the people you're close with. You think about, the plate of wings and nachos you're going to have afterwards, about an hour or two afterwards. So I kind of think that you think about everything. You definitely think about the cause that you're running for. You think about the impact that you're making. But, beyond that, you're thinking about your friends, your family, and, definitely a pizza a couple hours later. So.
And that ice bath.
Correct. I mean, it's really the only time that I, in theory, do not feel guilty for what I eat. So.
Well, you shouldn't. Wow. Yeah. So, listen, good luck with this countdown here. I'm sure you're going to do great. Mm-hmm. What do you think your time's going to be?
Well, last year I had my best time ever. It was a 3:23.
Wow.
So that's about a 7:47 mile pace or so, or something of that nature. So I'm hoping to beat that. But it really depends. I mean, there's some that subscribe to going out faster. There's some that subscribe to going out slower, and then trying to run the second half marathon faster than the first half. And I find that logic crazy, frankly. I just kind of believe in going out as fast as you can, and whenever you peter out, you peter out. So
you're all out from the
all out. I try to. As long as my heart rate's not extremely high when I started out. I try to push at a reasonable pace, because I know at mile 18, 19, no matter how much I want to run faster, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no, well, listen, how can our listeners add to your enthusiasm, and could they still make some donations to your Ollie's Place and Mighty Mutts?
Absolutely. So the goal is to get to $10,000, so we're close to $7 now. So even $20, $40, $100, everything helps. The website is www.olliesplace.org, and I'll spell it for you. It's OLLIES and then PLACE.org. So Ollie's Place is one word. It has a picture of me up there, and Gunther, which is a dog I used to have that passed away. It has a profile of the individual that used to raise money for Ollie's Place and passed away. Like I said, the proceeds are going to both organizations, whether you're a cat lover or a dog lover. It's helping out both. So, we're not being biased here. So
Okay, but Ollie's Place is the place to make the donation.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
It's olliesplace.org. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that goes into
It'll definitely get to the right
pot.
hands.
Okay.
Yep, and it's tax deductible. So, in theory, you can not in theory. I mean, you can print out the receipt and hand it to your accountant. So it's really, if you give $100, it's really like you're giving like $60 because you're getting a tax benefit. So, it's definitely a good cause.
And guys, you're hearing this from a financial expert, so you know that this
Right.
is true here. So,
Exactly.
So, Braden, thank you so much, and we're all going to be pulling for you. And
Thank you very much, Diane.
and that's it. Get running again, Braden.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the time.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Take care.
This is a Pelham Bay Parkbound 6 local train.
All right, this is my stop, Commercial Boulevard. Yeah, that's funny. Pets in the City will be back in a New York minute. Don't go anywhere.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Pets in the City is brought to you by Pet Care RX, America's most affordable pet pharmacy. Pet Care RX offers the same meds as top vets, but with a savings up to 50%. And if you find a lower price on a certified EPA and FDA approved medication, Pet Care RX will match that price. So go to petcarerx.com. Use promo code PETCITY10. PETSCITY, the number 10, and receive $10 off orders of $50 or more.
FTD's network of over 40,000 florists around the world have been creating beautiful handcrafted arrangements for 100 years. Each arrangement is delivered the same day and backed by FTD's 7-day satisfaction guarantee. For a century, people have trusted their most important occasions to the flower experts at FTD.
Since Pet Life Radio is all about puppy dogs and flowers, our listeners, that's you, can get a 20% discount on your order. Just go to fluorop.com and use the code PETCITY at checkout. FLEUROP.com. Code word PETSCITY.
Love your pets but wish their medications were a lot less expensive? They are at 1-800-PET-MEDS. You'll not only save on flea and heartworm medications, but on prescriptions for arthritis, incontinence, thyroid, and more. And you get fast service, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, our licensed pharmacists ensure accuracy, monitor drug interaction, and more. See why over 5 million people have trusted their pet's health to 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy. Call now or order online.
Go to petmeds.com/city, CITY, to get 10% off any order and free shipping on orders of $39 or more at petmeds.com.
When you're looking to add a pet into your life, consider adopting a homeless animal from your local shelter or rescue group. Whether you want a kitten, puppy, or a more mature pet, a purebred or a one-of-a-kind mixed breed, even a rabbit or hamster, your shelter has the best selection of animals anywhere, all screened for good health and behavior. PetLifeRadio.com presents Take Me Home with your host, Susan Daffron. Join us each week as we showcase wonderful pets, tell stories, and even throw some pet education into the mix. So get ready to find out why the pet adoption option can be a great way to add a furry companion into your life. Take Me Home every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Okay, all you yuppie puppies and city kitties, Pets in the City is back with more urban animals and cool cosmopolitan critters. Try saying that 3 times fast. Right, Diane?
And that'll do it for this week's episode of Pets in the City on Pet Life Radio. And again, if you're going to be around in the city on Sunday, November 7th, definitely try and get out to see the New York City Marathon. It's really quite festive. The whole city gets involved. Just go to the New York City Marathon website and you'll find some really good viewing areas in your borough there, because it's 5 boroughs, so it's really great. Just wanted to mention that in addition to Braden, whom we just spoke to, running and raising money for Ollie's Place and Mighty Mutts, have to mention that there's some other groups that are also running for animals. For example, the Mayor's Alliance for New York City Animals has their team Miles for Paws, and they'll be participating in the race to raise money for New York City's homeless animals, so that's great. And we also have the ASPCA has their Furry Friends Untied to raise money for them as well. So check that out. I'll put all this info on our website here. And again, that'll do it for this week. I'm looking forward to bringing more folks to you from the city who love their pets. Thanks to all of our sponsors, and thanks to you. Hopefully you'll be checking out our sponsors and buying some of their goods. I want to thank my producer, Mark Winter, and our whole Pet Life Radio family as well. Thanks again, and I will see you later.
New York, the glitz, the glamour, the exciting Mutt-tropolis, the sparkling kitty city that never sleeps. Join us each week for Pets in the City with your host, Diane West. Celebrity pet sightings, hot events, and news and reviews with the hottest movers, shakers, and tail waggers in New York. So take a bite out of the Big Apple with Pets in the City every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.